Good morning, y'all. It is now 11 o'clock. Getting a little bit of a late start. Had a busy morning getting stuff done here at the house. But welcome, everybody. Let me adjust this here. There we go. Hope everyone is having a great morning. As we always do on Saturdays, we're going to bring you a bunch of updates to news that matters to you guys here on this channel in terms of preppers, wars, world news, big stuff, and all of that. So, with that being said, we are going to bring our first news story. Oh, yeah. And then we'll give a video preview. It's about backyard chickens. I think you're going to like it. So, we'll give a preview to that here in a bit. But let's get our news stories over here. And the first one for today is talking about guns, because this matters to all of us here. And so basically, a group of about 30 House Republicans, led by Republican Ben Cline of Virginia, never heard of him, has warned that ongoing government shutdown is putting the Second Amendment rights of gun owners at risk. So this can be a big deal for us. Anyone that owns guns, right? Is what it seems. It's not that crazy once we read into it, but it will make a difference for people. So let's read on, or I'll give you a summary here of what this actually is going to do. So, in a letter to the ATF, lawmakers are arguing that because the shutdown has furloughed many federal employees, including those who process NFA applications or National Firearms Act applications, some are left in limbo. And so basically what that means is if you need an NFA application, doesn't apply to us in California because they wouldn't let them in here anyways, but they would give you approval. It's also called like a stamp, as some people refer to get silencers or short barreled rifles, that kind of thing. You need a stamp or a NFA application that's approved to get one of those. So basically, the Republicans are urging that the acting ATF director is going to reclassify these employees as essential workers so they can resume the processing of applications. Basically saying that inability to acquire these firearms infringes on our rights to protect ourselves and our property. So this, while it's not the hugest of deals, I'll be completely honest, it can matter, right? Because if we are unable, I mean, it's a long list of things that are caused by this government right now, right? So don't get me wrong. This is not the worst, right? Some people can't even go to work right now. So, but this is a big deal, right? Because it is infringing on our rights directly, on our Second Amendment right to bear arms, because the government is shut down. And so as we keep going down this road of shutdown, we're going to continue to have issues like this, where we are going to have problems with our rights being infringed, with not getting paid, with all sorts of stuff. And this is why I've talked about the shutdown quite a bit in previous streams, is because we need to end it because it's causing so many problems right now. So that is just one quick thing to note. Cool. And so that's the one I wanted to start off right off the bat, because while I do not have any of those things, because I don't have a tax stamp and I live in California, if I lived in someplace else like Texas, I sure would love to, but I couldn't right now, even if I wanted to. So that's one thing here. So the next story is, we'll finish up with Venezuela and Israel, because those are some of the two bigger topics. But next story is Epstein. And I know everyone here, make sure it's muted, has a lot of feelings about Jeffrey Epstein and the lists and the manuscripts and all this different stuff, and why aren't they being released? It's a big deal, right? Even if you don't think that there's a conspiracy theory here. But basically what ended up happening with this article here, and by the way, let's see if I can just copy hyperlink. So sorry, I forgot to do this with the first one. This is where I'll post the links to all these articles in the chat as I go through them. So let me put that government shutdown one in there first of all, and then let me put in this next article here real quick. All right. So what they're saying about Epstein on this article is basically there's a House Oversight Committee that is working on these things, right? And they released new documents this last Friday, yesterday, the 17th, related to Epstein. And the release includes flight manifests from Epstein's private plane and the transcript of an interview with Alex Acosta, the former U.S. attorney who negotiated Epstein's 2008 plea deal. So if we look down here, let me find the manuscript here. So, and then I will talk some more about this. Passenger manifest. So, as we can see here, don't know a whole lot of these people. I probably should, but I don't. Well, let me zoom in for you. Don't know any of these people. It is interesting that there's a bunch that are still redacted, which is concerning to me. Ghislaine Maxwell, right? We all know that one. Prince Andrew. That's a big one, right? Ghislaine Maxwell, Prince Andrew, probably going back. Groening, Simpsons guy. Oh, Matt Groening, the Simpsons guy. Well, that's interesting. The Simpsons guy is on Epstein's jet. I didn't realize that. But here is a big one. President Clinton. They even misspelled it for some reason. I don't know if that was on purpose or not, but they did. President Clinton. So he's listed right here. So that is very interesting. But basically, the key details here is that, let's see, Alex Acosta, his transcript, right, that they released, he defended the non-federal plea deal, which resulted in Epstein serving 13 months, or was going to serve 13 months in county jail and registering as a sex offender. In his testimony, Acosta claimed the federal case had significant evidentiary issues, stating that many victims refused to testify and it changed their stories, and they would have faced withering cross-examination. He said that he supported the judgment at the time, arguing it was better to have a billionaire serve time in jail than to risk a trial with a reduced likelihood of success. Acosta also asserted that prosecutors in the office found it unacceptable that the Palm Beach State Attorney's Office was reportedly ready to let Epstein walk free, which is very surprising and frustrating. And I got to look more into that, but I've heard that mentioned a few times that the Palm Beach State Attorney's Office was going to do that. So that is going to they're going to let Epstein, they didn't want to charge him at all. So very interesting. But the flight manifest here that we are looking through, they include the names of very high profile people who actually, and this are manifests of people who traveled on his plane. So we got President Bill Clinton, we saw Prince Andrews, supposedly, Woody Allen and Mrs. Allen. That's interesting. Bill Gates right here. Richard Branson is on here somewhere. Walter Cronkite is down here somewhere. It's just very high level people. Now, let me be clear. None of these people have been accused of doing anything wrong. These are just who he flew on the jet. It is very interesting. David Mullen, that sounds familiar, but I can't remember who that is. If you guys know, put it in the comments. He flew a lot. David Mullen. I can't remember. He sounds really familiar though. Like I've heard his name before. So, oh, no, not at all. He's just a singer. That doesn't surprise me. So, anywho, so that got released. So it's just more interesting, right? That we see finally more evidence of people actually flew with him, right? And these high level people actually flew on his jet. Woody Allen again. It's just odd, right? It's very weird that all of these people would be coming out. Walter Cronkite, there we go. JP, I don't know who that is, but interesting. So, and these are the flight logs. These don't really say a whole lot. Yeah, I don't think the truth is ever going to come out, to be completely honest, you know? Yeah, that's an interesting picture. During a fuel stop on Epstein's plane, this picture was taken, in Portugal, I think? Yeah, Portugal. So, right? Makes you wonder a little bit. So, I don't know what Hillary thought of all that. I'm sure she is, I don't know, she's odd to say the least. So, anywho, those are just two quick topics wanted to touch on real quick because they were interesting, and Epstein is always a good topic to talk about because everyone has their, controversial, or not controversial, but conspiracy theories about him. and we will have to see about that. So the next one, let me copy the hyperlink, is that we're going to talk about is what other than Venezuela. We've talked about it in every video recently because it has been a big deal, right? So basically, so Trump is, as we know, is considering military action, but the U.S. is actually building up more military forces in the Caribbean that we've talked about before, including some B-52s off of our coast. I don't think they're in like Rosie Roads or any of those other places. It doesn't go into specifics, but because of that, Maduro is now repositioning his own troops and mobilizing what he says are millions of militia members and denouncing the U.S. activity in the region. The accounts are described as a sign of defiance from Maduro as the two leaders are locked in a standoff. Now, I do want to play this video here. I don't know if the ads are there's probably going to be an ad, but this is pretty funny. So I'm going to play this here for you. Yep, there is an ad. So we'll wait till it's done. But it's just continuing escalation of force, butting heads, and I think President Trump is just ready to be done with the boat thing. I mean, he'll still do it, but he's ready to move on. You know what I mean? He's ready to actually take more force to stop the flow of drugs coming into the country, So that is that. So here goes. It's about to end. This is at a press conference. So.
In his country, all the natural resources. He even recorded a message to you in English recently. It has been reported that Maduro offered everything in his country, all the natural resources. He even recorded a message to you in English recently, offering mediation. What should we do in order to stop that?
He has offered everything. He's offered everything. You're right. You know why? Because he doesn't want to with the United States. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Yes, sorry, I did want to bleep that so I didn't get language in this video, so I could still keep it monetized. But you can imagine what he said. He doesn't want to blank with this country, So yeah, which is kind of funny that he's so frank about it, But yeah, flying B-52s off the country's coast, blah blah blah. It goes on and on and on. So very interesting, right? Still talking about the CIA operating inside of Venezuela for migrants now and drugs. That's interesting. It's always focused on drugs, at least in the articles I have seen. So yeah. So who is this? He said, this is Maduro. But our people are clear, united, and aware. They have the means to once again defeat this open conspiracy against the peace and stability of Venezuela, he said on state television. Well, the problem is that he is the one of the most corrupt leaders in the world. Not this guy, but like Maduro, he is known to be members of drug smuggling organizations. He is known to help these drug flows out of the country to bring money back in. This is not a secret. He knows about this, and he is actively taking part in this, and everybody knows this, except for probably the normal everyday American. But that's kind of one of the reasons I want to get this stuff out there, is to talk about this so people are aware. I mean, I think most all politicians are probably corrupt as well, but this guy is terrible. This guy's really bad. He grew up in the drug organizations in Venezuela and then got elected somehow, some way. I don't know the history behind how he got elected, but he did. And that's how he grew up, in those organizations and working for them to trade drugs. So to say that he is like upset that he has no idea what's going on with these drugs is just total BS. He knows exactly what's going on and exactly how much drugs is going in and out and how much money they're making. So yeah, I just find that absolutely ridiculous. So the other one article here, oh, this is the same video. Yep. So I thought that was really funny. You can see the bleeped out word here, but yeah, very interesting. So I don't even know where this is at, but yeah, very funny. So one topic I did want to talk about here, and let me see if I can copy this over, is Israel real quick. This isn't really like a serious like story for me, at least. I just found this funny, right? Because like we're actually, I think we're actually seeing some forms of peace, right? If you believe the news, which is hard to do sometimes, but if you do believe the news and believe about what is going on over there, that there is progress being made in this, with this peace deal, right? That that things are good, but and I'll talk about a part of that in a second here, but leave it to Hollywood to just mess things up and just stick their fingers into something where it doesn't matter. Like, who really cares what Hollywood thinks? Who really cares what Javier Bardem thinks? I don't even know who that Jack Wagon is, but who cares what his opinions are? He may be a good actor, he probably is because he's in this article. I don't know, but who really cares what he thinks? No one. I don't think, unless you're a fan of Mr. Bardem, but like, I don't see why actors and actresses, and singers and all these people feel like they have this platform to talk about this stuff when like, their opinion doesn't matter. No one should care what an actor and actress thinks. They lie for a living while playing characters in movies. So who knows if they're actually telling the truth as well? Like, I just, it blows my mind how people put so much faith into actors, actresses, singers, i.e. Taylor Swift, who's just gone off the deep end as well for many different reasons. But like, I don't get it. And so they're right now, they're saying that that they're still fighting against this war, right? And they're still upset about this war. And you can tell obviously by Javier Bardem's garb here that he's obviously pro-Palestinian, which just boggles my mind. So I don't get it, to be completely honest with you. So yeah, that's that. Oh, I did see something about here. Let's see if I can find it. So it was something about Hamas and hostages, and they're not doing it, or I can't remember where I saw it, but it was basically that Hamas was causing issues. Like, they weren't turning over the people that they should have, or it was something to that effect. And so that doesn't surprise me, but I think they do want a peace deal, right? Oh, here we go. Yeah. So Gaza, Hamas is saying they need more time. I don't think this is the actual article that I saw, but basically Gaza is saying, I'll just click on this here. Gaza is saying they need more time to find the bodies of people, right? Of people that have been killed during this war. And Israel's basically saying, just give it now. We want it now. That was the deal. Why are you messing with us? And so I think it's, if I had to guess, it's probably the same issue on both sides, right? Where we see this threat coming from both parties. So, it is what it is. I'm not like super surprised by this, that they're all going to have issues getting bodies back and doing things, and people have to be understanding to the problem here, to this process, that it's just going to take time, and it's not going to happen right away, and they aren't going to do it right away, and just be patient. So, anywho, that's my take on that. Let's see here. I'll just bring up, Google News. So if you guys are looking for like I find, so I look at 3 news sources in general, on a daily basis, right? So I look at Fox News primarily, but I also do look at CNN, because I find that it's good to look at at least two different news sources to get both points of view. And then I look at Google News as well, and they're pretty bipartisan and don't cause any issues. If you want to pay for a service, you could do something like Ground News as well. But let's see here. Oh yeah, so the No Kings protest, that just blows my mind. Like, yeah, he's not a king. He may not be the best guy in the world, but he's not a king. Putin and the Putin and Zelensky thing, that's still going back and forth. Who knows when that's going to end? Supposedly it's, they're making progress, but it's going back and forth, and Putin's changing Trump's mind. So who knows? We'll see what's going on with that. But this is what I was looking for here, because I saw this. is the submarine. So I don't think there's probably going to be any video of it out if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, basically it's saying that the U.S. military hit a submarine that was carrying drugs from Venezuela. So, but the even bigger part of this is that there were survivors, supposedly. So supposedly they're saying that people survived this attack and made it back to Venezuelan waters or Venezuelan beaches, I would assume. But no one, like, there's no source or no official source for where are the survivors. It's just multiple reports are saying that there are survivors, which is crazy to me, seeing these weapons and knowing these from my time in the military. But show us pictures, show us video, and prove it to us, to the world, right? Yeah, and let's hear the real story. If you claim they were just civilians, right? They weren't, I guarantee it. But it's interesting. So supposedly survivors in a ship and a submarine attack. And if and I'm thinking through that, I guess it's more possible in this case, in this strike, than any others, mostly because it's a submarine, right? So that doesn't surprise me like too much. Oh, computer's getting ahead of itself here. Stop it. Sorry. So we'll see what happens. But like I said, in other weeks and other streams, just be prepared, be ready. Food, water, shelter, ways to communicate, all of that stuff, just in case. Because I don't think it's going to blow into a full-blown war, like we've seen in other times, but it definitely could be. So that is basically the news for today. But like I do every week here, is I will preview the video for the upcoming video release, which is tomorrow on this channel at 10 a.m. And so this week we did a really interesting video. I did some research into chickens, right? I know most of us have backyard chickens for eggs, for meat, etc. But if you use them for eggs during the winter, they dry up. And so I was interested why and how we could fix that. And so this opened up a huge can of worms. And so I decided to do a video about that. So here is the preview for that. And I will come back with you after the video is done. All right. Is this you right now? You walk out to the coop, bracing against the cold, hoping for that familiar treasure in your nesting box, and you find nothing. You're feeding your flock, you're giving them a cozy shelter, but the egg basket is empty. You've probably been told that it's just the cold, that chickens just stop laying in the winter. But what if I told you that's the biggest myth in backyard chicken keeping, and that the secret to a winter full of eggs has almost nothing to do with temperature? In the next 20 minutes, I'm to give you a complete science-backed blueprint to not just get more eggs this winter, but to do it safely while keeping your flock healthy, happy, and thriving. We're going to debunk the myths, starting with the real reason your hens have stopped laying. We'll dive deep into the great lighting debate, master the art of winterizing a coop, and unlock the secrets of high-energy winter nutrition, and even reveal the best chicken breeds for the job. By the end of this video, you'll have a step-by-step plan to turn your coop from a winter freeloader hotel into an egg-laying powerhouse. So let's get started. To fix the problem, we first have to understand it. And the problem isn't the cold, it's the light. A hen's body is like a tiny solar-powered egg factory. Her reproductive cycle isn't programmed by a thermometer, but by a clock, a light clock. This is all controlled by a tiny photosensitive organ in her head called the pineal gland. To stimulate egg production, that gland needs to register between 14 and 16 hours of light per day. When the daylight hours in fall and winter drop below 12, the gland hits the brakes, sending a hormonal signal to shut down the egg factory for the season. It's a brilliant survival instinct to ensure chickens aren't born in the dead of winter. This shutdown often happens at the same time as the annual molt, when your hens shed their old feathers for a new, warmer winter coat. Growing thousands of new feathers is incredibly demanding, and a hen's body simply can't produce feathers and eggs at the same time.
So while cold is a factor, it's an energy thief that forces your hens to burn calories just to stay warm. It's not the main switch. The light is the switch, and that means we can turn it back on. The most effective way to get winter eggs is to use supplemental lighting to create an artificial 15-hour day. But doing this right is about more than just screwing in a light bulb. First, consistency is king. You need a reliable, programmable timer. Don't just trust your memory. Any interruption in the schedule can confuse your hen's body and even trigger a stressful molt. Second, timing is critical. You want to add the artificial light in the morning, not in the evening. Here's why. The chickens naturally roost as the sun sets. If you use a light to extend the day and it suddenly clicks off at 9 p.m., they're plunged into darkness, potentially stranded on the coop floor and stressed out. A light that comes on at 4 a.m. and turns off as the sun rises allows for a seamless, natural transition into that day. Now let's talk technology. Not all bulbs are created equal. Incandescent light bulbs. These produce a great warm light spectrum, but they are horribly inefficient and a massive fire risk because of the heat they generate. I do not recommend them. Then you have CFLs or compact fluorescents. They're much more efficient but can flicker and perform poorly in the cold. And then you have LEDs. This is the best and safest choice. They are super efficient, last forever, work great in the cold, and produce very little heat, making them the safest option for a dusty, flammable coop environment. Whatever you choose, you want a warm white bulb to mimic the orange-red light spectrum that best stimulates egg production. And it doesn't have to be bright. Just enough light to read a newspaper in a dark corner is plenty. Okay, so this is the part you absolutely cannot skip. Putting electricity in a chicken coop is serious business. So make sure to do a few things. First, secure your fixture. Make sure your light is securely mounted far away from bedding or cobwebs. A protective cage around the bulb is also a good idea. A second, use outdoor rated components. All cords and fixtures should be rated for outdoor or agricultural use to resist dust and moisture. Number 3 is no permanent extension cords. They're a major fire hazard. If you need permanent power, hire a qualified electrician. It's worth the peace of mind. Now, using supplemental light is one of the most debated topics in the chicken community, and both sides have excellent points. The argument for lighting is practical. It gives you year-round food supplies, and you're not paying to feed freeloading hens for 4 months. If you sell eggs, it keeps your customers happy. And let's be honest, if you don't use a light bulb but you buy eggs from the grocery store in winter, those eggs were almost certainly produced in a commercial facility that uses supplemental lighting. The argument against lighting is about animal welfare. It argues that forcing a hen to lay year-round denies her a natural and necessary period of rest to rejuvenate her body. A hen is born with all the legs she'll ever lay. Lighting doesn't create more, it just makes her lay them faster, potentially shortening her productive lifespan from 5 or 6 years down to 3 or 4. There's no single answer here. It's a personal choice that depends on your goals and your philosophy. Even with perfect lighting, your hens won't lay if they're battling the elements. Your coop needs to be a winter fortress, and this starts with understanding the most critical concept of winter coop care. Ventilation is not the same as a draft. A draft is a direct stream of cold air at roosting level that steals body heat. It's a killer. Ventilation is the slow exchange of air that removes moisture and ammonia, and it's a lifesaver. In fact, it's the damp, humid air from poor ventilation that causes frostbite, not just the cold itself. So your mission is to seal every crack and hole at or below roost level, then ensure you have vents high up in the coop near the roofline to let the warm, moist air escape without blowing on your birds. Now, let's build your coop's own natural furnace with the deep litter method. So you want to start in the fall with a clean coop and add a 4 to 6 inch layer of pine shavings. Over the winter, instead of cleaning it out, just add a fresh layer on top and turn it with a pitchfork every few days. The composting action of the droppings and bedding will generate a gentle, steady heat from the floor up. And a quick word on supplemental heat. Just don't do it. The standard heat lamps are the #1 cause of coop fires. A well-winterized coop with cold-hardy breeds is all you need. If you live in an extremely cold climate and feel heat is absolutely necessary, use a much safer radiant panel heater, not a bulb. In winter, your chickens are eating to survive. Their feed consumption can increase by 1.5 times as they burn calories to stay warm. This is the time to switch from a standard 16% protein layer feed to a higher 18 to 20% protein feed to fuel their internal furnace and support feather regrowth. Now, let's talk about scratch grains. This is not a meal, it's a tool. It's like chicken candy, high in carbs, low in nutrients. The key is to feed it strategically. Give them a small handful per bird in the late afternoon, about an hour before they roost. The process of digesting those whole grains overnight generates metabolic heat, acting like a slow-burning furnace to keep them warm through the night. But the single most critical nutrient in winter is this: unfrozen water. A dehydrated hen will stop laying almost immediately. If you have electricity, a heated water base or a heated pet bulb is your most reliable solution. No electricity? No problem. Place a large black rubber tub in a sunny spot. The black rubber will absorb solar heat and slow the freezing process. You can also try the saltwater bottle trick. Fill a sealed plastic bottle with a very salty water and float it in the main waterer. The salt water has a lower freezing point, and its movement keeps the surrounding fresh water from icing over. Just make absolutely sure the bottle doesn't leak. Salt water is toxic to chickens. Genetics can also give you a huge head start. Breeds developed in cold climates are naturally better equipped for winter. Look for birds with heavy bodies and small combs, which are less prone to frostbite. Top-tier winter layers include Wyandottes, Orpingtons, Plymouth Rocks, and Brahmas. Finally, remember that a bored chicken is a destructive chicken. Being cooped up can lead to bad habits like feather picking and egg eating. You need to provide enrichment. It doesn't have to be complicated. Hang a head of cabbage to create a chicken piñata. Add a few logs or an old ladder for them to climb on. Toss in a bale of straw or a big pile of leaves and watch them gleefully tear it apart. Or you can use a small cage to make them work for their treats. A busy chicken is a happy and productive chicken. So let's bring it all together. Getting that full basket of winter eggs isn't about one magic trick. It's about creating a complete system built on a few key pillars. A, smart, safe lighting, providing a consistent 15 hours of light with a timer and a safe, low-wattage LED bulb. 2, a fortified coop, eliminating drafts while ensuring high ventilation and using the deep litter method. 3, high-energy nutrition, fueling your flock with higher protein feed, strategic evening scratch grains, and most importantly, constant access to unfrozen water. So now you have the knowledge to go from an empty egg basket to a steady supply, all while ensuring your flock is thriving and not just surviving this winter. Which of these tips are you going to try first? Let me know in the comments below. I really do read every single one. And if you found this guide helpful, do me a favor and hit that like and subscribe button for more backyard chicken advice that cuts through the noise, as well as emergency prepping and food tips. So stay warm and happy egg collecting.
Well, that is the video that's coming out tomorrow. So I enjoyed doing a lot of the research for it. It was very interesting because I didn't even think about not putting lights in for the entire day, you know. But yeah, I guess that's important. So, and I learned that in the research, you know. So, anywho, yeah, that's pretty much all I had. If anything big comes up, as always, I will definitely bring it to everybody here on the channel and do another live stream ad hoc. If there are any big news, I've done that a couple times this week with some of the big news that's come up with Venezuela and the shutdown, a bunch of the other stuff. So, yeah, I will do that. Otherwise, if you aren't subscribed to YouTube, to my YouTube channel, I'll post it in here. Make sure that you get subscribed to that, because it not only has all of our streams and everything, it has all of our videos that come out each week. It has everything on it. So make sure to subscribe to that and talk over there. If you're on any of the other ones like Facebook or whatnot, feel free to stay there too, you know. So thank you guys. I really appreciate you guys joining us today. It means a whole heck of a lot that you would come out and listen and watch for a little bit on a Saturday still morning. So thank you guys so much. Make sure to subscribe to YouTube. We will have that video out tomorrow. If you guys want to share it with other people, that would be awesome. So thank you guys so much. We truly appreciate it. And I'll catch you guys on the next time.